2. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my God, you can do it. 8. At least 10. 9. Okay, one more. 10. Okay.
Oh my God, why it's hard?
11. Oh, you're doing it.
Okay. I will do 15.
Okay. 12. Even though you're not doing it completely, I'm counting. 13.
2 more. I got this, come on.
14.
Maybe last one you help me.
Okay. How?
Last one you help me
Okay.
maybe.
Okay.
From the back. Okay.
Me?
We do it together. 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay. 15. Oh, it was
Bravo.
hard. It's hard.
Bravo.
From here?
Yeah. Since you didn't do it completely, I'm not gonna do it completely either.
Okay.
Okay.
Still fine.
When I'm doing like pull-ups like 12, 13 and 14, I was like, oh my God, I'm out of power. Help me. She was like, from the back. So she helped me through it. I guess she liked it. Oh, I don't know.
So let's have our cucumber. And
Should I feed you?
oh, I would love it. I work out
Do you
so
want a
hard
lot
for
of
it.
gochujang?
Yeah, please.
Okay, you deserved it.
Oh.
Yum. Spicy, yum.
Much yummier even than like.
Because I feed you?
Yeah. My turn.
Yeah. I love cucumbers.
Good, right? Healthy snack.
Maybe like eating and seeing the scenery, like from there, the tower on river. I guess the best moment when we are in top.
It was very nice. It felt like we were on a small trip outside of the city, and it was nature, and it was just 2 of us. And I really like nature, so I think for me it's like one of the most perfect dates.
You enjoy it? It was really
good.
nice, right?
But I got samjak all over my...
Oh, really? Okay. Wait a second.
You have everything with you.
Yeah,
It's like-
everything is ready. You need water? I got. You need like tissue? Oh, wait.
Okay.
Wait.
You gonna do it for me?
Yeah.
You're so romantic.
Okay, I will get you bed tissue as well.
You're a sweet man.
Yeah. I look tough from the outside,
Yeah.
but maybe I'm kind of kind inside.
Maybe you try to look tough because inside you're very soft, so you try to make your
Cover it up.
cover it up
Who
with
knows?
like. I think I'm kind of tired.
Let's sit here.
Where? Here?
Oh, it's kind of.
Oh my God.
Feels good, huh?
It was good.
It was a good workout.
Yeah.
So how was it? You like the view here?
It was a nice date, I would say.
Yeah.
I
didn't-
I underestimated hiking.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 minute left.
I didn't know the time is finished.
Yeah,
They
me
said
too.
like 1 time and like 1 minute left, and I don't want it to finish this early.
So that you have to do something to,
Extend it.
yeah.
Watch.
Like, I don't know, dance for me. I don't know.
Oh, I can lift you up if you want.
But we already did that.
Oh, I hope we can do it next time.
Yeah. You
Maybe-
can. You
Maybe-
can.
When they said only one minute left, I was like, oh, I gotta do something to get her attention. So I was like holding her hand, like kissing her hand, like trying to be more touchy because we got like comfortable with each other.
I don't like when the guys all over me right away without even knowing me and like hugging me too much, like holding my hands all the time. I was like taking my hands off. Like I was giving him like hint that I don't like holding hands too long. Instead of, he could just give me that, but like he would like always try to hold my hand.
I guess like you're funny
Thank
and
you.
like you know you're energetic. We went top, we ate like cucumber and the stuff. It was really good. I really wanna get some more time with you. So I can assure.
Okay, it was the end of the date. See you next time. Thank you for the date.
Yeah, thank
It
you.
was very nice.
See you.
See
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Oh, send
my
me.
God.
Give me.
Huh? Like this one or see you.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh, it was quite sweet. 빨리 가. Go. I think one is better than another. Let's see the third one. 또 저기 있어. 빨리 가. Go. Careful. Oh my God. He was very sweet and like nice, but it feels like a boy who was trying to get the girl for all costs. But usually this kind of guys in the beginning they're all over you and then they're getting like bored. But if he really is like that and he always stays that way, then he would be a nice boyfriend. Compared to the first guy, it was completely different. I think I need the guy who's in the middle.
In our headlines on this Friday, December 5th, here in South Korea, President Lee Jae-myung hosts the founder of Japanese investment holding company SoftBank Group, Masayoshi Son, at the presidential office in Yongsan earlier today. Meanwhile, the central bank says South Korea saw a current account surplus of $6.8 billion in October, lower than the $13.4 billion posted in September. On the international front, Russia's Vladimir Putin vows to seize Ukraine's Donbas region by military or other means as international efforts to end his aggression against Kyiv continue. We start today at the presidential office in Yongsan, where President Lee Jae-myung sat down with SoftBank Group founder Masayoshi Son to explore avenues of partnership in AI. Our correspondent Song Yoo-jin reports.
South Korean President Lee Jae-myung is broadening his AI diplomacy, this time by meeting with Masayoshi Son, the head of Japanese tech investment giant SoftBank. The two met at the Yongsan presidential office on Friday to discuss the latest trends in artificial intelligence and potential avenues for cooperation.
저는 인공지능이 가지는 엄청난 역량 때문에 마치 상수도나 하수도 무슨 도로처럼 모든 국민들, 모든 국가들이 함께 누리는 정말 초보적인 인프라로 활용할 수 있다고 믿고.
The SoftBank CEO highlighted what he calls the next technological frontier, ASI, or artificial superintelligence, which he described as AI that is 10,000 times smarter than humans.
Instead of we think we can control them, we can teach them, we can manage them, we have to start to harmonize. We have to start to synchronize. We have to start to respect.
During their more than hour-long meeting, Son suggested 4 pillars that he believes will help South Korea prepare for the rise of artificial superintelligence: energy, semiconductors, data, and education. In line with this proposal, South Korea's industry ministry and ARM, the British semiconductor design company in which SoftBank is the largest shareholder, signed an MOU to form a working group for the so-called ARM School.
ARM School will be a chip design-focused institution built on ARM's strengths. It aims to train about 1,400 top-tier experts, becoming a valuable asset in strengthening South Korea's semiconductor ecosystem, particularly in areas like fabless design, where the country remains relatively weak.
The industry ministry is preparing to name an institution for this new semiconductor graduate program, with the Gwangju Institute of Science and Technology being considered the leading candidate. This marks President Lee's latest meeting with global AI leaders following talks with the heads of BlackRock, OpenAI, and NVIDIA. These discussions reflect the Lee administration's resolve to make South Korea one of the world's top 3 AI powerhouses by strengthening technological competitiveness and global cooperation networks. Song Yoo-jin, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, the morning commute here in Capitol Hill remained at a snail's pace as drivers faced treacherous black ice conditions after the season's first snowfall the previous night. Our An Sung-jin has details.
Pedestrians carefully shuffled down the street, some gripping onto handrails as the steps were slippery. Following the first snow of the season on Thursday evening, major inconveniences continued for commuters due to heavy snowfall and icy road conditions on Friday.
A trip that should take 10 to 20 minutes took me over 30 minutes today. It's really hard to catch a taxi, and the buses seem to be running a bit later than usual. I almost slipped when I left home, so I have to be careful.
It's slippery, so I need to be careful. A fall could be fatal for an elderly person.
Snow began falling around rush hour on Thursday, coming down at nearly 5 centimeters per hour. Heavy snow disaster alerts were sent out to 21 regions, including Eunpyeonggu District in Seoul and Gapyeongung County and Pocheon City in Gyeonggi-do Province. The snowfall led to the shutdown of more than 30 sections of urban expressways, including Gangbyeongbukro and Dongbu Arterial Road, as well as 9 city roads, leaving commuters stranded. As of Friday afternoon, all road closures in Seoul due to icy conditions have been lifted. The Seoul Metropolitan Government issued a Level 1 snowfall response on Thursday afternoon and deployed over 5,000 personnel and more than 1,100 snow removal vehicles in preparation ahead of the sudden heavy snow. However, this didn't prevent traffic chaos during the evening commute. Officials explained that although initial response efforts were made, the intense snowfall over a short period overwhelmed the system, making it difficult for pre-spread de-icing agents to work properly. Experts say that the heavy snowfall came from a strong Siberian high-pressure system expanding southward. The warm air from a high-pressure system in the south met the cold air descending from the north, creating a stationary pressure that increased atmospheric instability. Officials warned that as the snow from Thursday had frozen over, many roads are expected to remain icy. They also cautioned about thin layers of black ice that have formed in many areas. 안성진, Arirang News.
In other news, South Korea's current account sees a smaller on-month surplus in October, but analysts point out the cumulative current account surplus for the first 10 months of this year has hit a fresh high. Our economics correspondent Park Chun-han reports.
South Korea's 30-month-long current account surplus continued in October. The current account shows the balance of imports and exports as well as other money flows into and out of the country. The Bank of Korea announced on Friday that the preliminary current account surplus registered for October stood at $6.81 billion. This is about 50% lower than September's $13.47 billion. However, the central bank stated that the difference was largely due to fewer working days during the extended Chuseok holiday and the absence of large one-off exports of ships.
South Korea posted a $6.81 billion current account surplus in October, but the surplus narrowed sharply from the previous month, mainly due to temporary factors such as fewer business days during the Chuseok holiday, which reduced the goods balance.
Meanwhile, the cumulative current account surplus from January to October this year hit a record high. The total current account surplus during the period reached $89.58 billion. This is 17% higher than the same period last year when it stood at $76.63 billion.
Although October's current account surplus declined from the previous month due to several temporary factors, the holiday variable disappears in November, and with South Korea recording all-time high semiconductor exports and generating a significant trade surplus, the current account surplus is expected to recover to the strong level of more than $10 billion.
According to projections by the Korea International Trade Association, South Korea is expected to surpass $700 billion in exports for the first time in 2025. The association claimed that the country will deliver even stronger results in 2026, projecting that semiconductors and ships will drive the momentum for robust export growth. Park Chun-han, Arirang News.
And on the corporate front, crisis management efforts continue at Coupang as its online foot traffic declines, while relevant authorities pledge tougher accountability. Our business correspondent Kim Do-yeon has the latest.
The massive data breach involving 33.7 million Coupang accounts is now directly impacting the e-commerce giant's user base. According to data released by Mobile Index on Friday, Coupang's daily active users dropped to 17.8 million on December 2nd. This represents a decrease of more than 180,000 users compared to the record high observed just one day prior. Market analysts attribute this fluctuation directly to the breach, with traffic shifting from a spike in initial concern to a trend of user departure. Despite growing anxiety among consumers, law enforcement authorities stated on Friday that no actual crimes linked to the leaked data have been confirmed so far. The National Office of Investigation reported that after analyzing over 22,000 reports of voice phishing and smishing, as well as 116,000 cases of physical crimes including stalking and break-ins, no secondary damage correlated to the Coupang breach was found. Police emphasized they will continue monitoring for any misuse of delivery addresses or order histories. Meanwhile, consumers attempting to leave the platform are facing friction. Deleting a Coupang account currently requires a complex process involving multiple verification steps. In response, the Broadcasting Media Communications Commission has launched a fact-finding investigation to determine if this procedure violates the Telecommunications Business Act by effectively restricting a user's right to terminate their service. Simultaneously, government regulators are moving to tighten legal repercussions. The Personal Information Protection Commission has announced a policy of strict enforcement regarding the incident. Legislators are pushing to raise the fine cap under the Personal Information Protection Act from the current 3% to 4% of total revenue and to enforce substantive punitive damages for data handlers who exhibit gross negligence. This regulatory shift has created tension across the corporate sector, with major firms such as GS Retail, Yes24, and KT also under investigation for separate security incidents facing the prospect of significantly heavier sanctions. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Russia's Vladimir Putin maintains his intentions to seize Ukraine's Donbas region, quote, by military or other means, even as efforts to end his aggression against Kyiv continue. Our foreign affairs correspondent Oh Soo-young reports.
Russian leader Vladimir Putin has warned that Moscow will seize Ukraine's eastern region of Donbas if Ukrainian troops do not withdraw from the area. This came in an interview with India Today, before the Russian leader left for a trip to New Delhi. He told the Indian Daily that he intends to liberate Donbas and Novorossiya at any cost, by military or other means, according to Russian state media TASS. Amid the United States' efforts to end the near 4 years of war, the Kremlin has been demanding Ukraine hand over territory in the Donbas region, 85% of which is currently under Russian control. This comes after US President Donald Trump claimed his negotiators believe the Russian leader would like to end the war after talks over a peace plan in Moscow on Tuesday. Last week, the Trump administration's 28-point draft proposal was leaked and criticized for largely reflecting the Kremlin's main demands, including Ukraine giving up territory, limiting its military, and dropping its efforts to join NATO. The proposal has reportedly been revised since then, with input from Kyiv and European nations, but the details have not been disclosed. Putin said his 5-hour talks with US envoys at the Kremlin on Tuesday were necessary and useful, but also difficult work. While deeming some proposals unacceptable, Putin said he believed the US leader is sincere.
We had a feeling, and even more than a feeling. I had no doubt that President Trump has sincere desire. Well, let's not talk about what's the cause of it, but what dictated this sincere desire, but it is there, in place for sure. The United States and President Trump, indeed, they have their own understanding of why it needs to end, and as soon as possible.
Putin has previously said he is generally on board with Trump's proposals as a basis for future agreements, while threatening continued military advancement should Ukraine refuse to comply. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has refused to cede territory and has called for a security guarantee from the West. Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff is due to meet Ukraine's team in Florida after returning from Moscow. According to German news outlet Der Spiegel, European leaders are skeptical of Trump's peace deal efforts. On Thursday, the publication reported that in a call between Zelensky and other European leaders, French President Emmanuel Macron warned that the United States could betray Kyiv on territorial concessions without clarity on security guarantees. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz reportedly told Zelensky that US negotiators are, quote, playing games, and that he should be very careful for the next few days. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, back here in this part of the world, the diplomatic dispute between Beijing and Tokyo regarding the latter's suggestion of possible military intervention over Taiwan has led to rampant cancellations by Chinese officials of pre-planned performances and events by Japanese artists in China. Our Yoon Jin reports.
The bitter dispute between East Asia's biggest powers is playing out on the cultural front, with performances and fan meet and greets of at least 30 Japanese performers in major Chinese cities canceled in recent days. Organizers have reported that in some cases, performances were canceled by authorities without explanation, while in others, police arrived ahead of showtime, imposing impossible conditions for the show to proceed. This is not the first time Beijing has targeted cultural and entertainment exports coming into the country. China had effectively blocked South Korean performances and K-dramas for nearly a decade following Seoul's deployment of an American anti-ballistic missile system in 2016. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning didn't clarify the nature of the recent restrictions, but reaffirmed that the Japanese leader's erroneous remarks on Taiwan had deeply hurt the feelings of the Chinese people and worsened the atmosphere for China-Japanese exchanges. Relations between China and Japan spiraled after the recently elected Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi made comments while responding to a question in Parliament last month, suggesting that Tokyo could take military action if Beijing attacked Taiwan. Beijing views self-governed Taiwan as part of its territory. Chinese state media has reported that Takaichi has since continued to refuse to retract her comments, which Beijing absolutely does not accept. On Wednesday, Takaichi told a parliamentary questioning session that Tokyo's fundamental position regarding Taiwan remains unchanged from that stated in the 1972 Japan-China joint communique. Meanwhile, amid increasing tension, South Korean President Lee Jae-myung on Wednesday said that Korea would not take sides in the escalating friction between China and Japan, but would rather seek to mediate and moderate between the two neighbors. 이은진, Arirang News.
Over in the U.S., the Trump administration is tightening its immigration work permits, stressing the importance of frequent security checks. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is limiting the length of its employment authorization documents for several categories of immigrants from 5 years to 18 months. This will apply to all new applications and renewal requests submitted after Friday, as well as to those currently pending review. The decision follows last month's shooting of 2 National Guard members near the White House by an Afghan immigrant, leaving one dead and the other in critical condition. U.S. authorities have arrested a man who is suspected of having planted 2 pipe bombs outside the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters on the eve of the January 6th riot back in 2021. The Justice Department says 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. was taken into custody without incident, and his devices did not detonate and were discovered as rioters breached the Capitol. The arrest follows nearly 5 years of investigation. Google Korea has unveiled its top trending searches for this year among South Korean users. On the political front, the presidential election topped the list, while on the economic front, the government's consumption coupon emerged at the top of the search engine. On the entertainment front, Netflix saw a dominating presence, with KPop Demon Hunters ranking first for the big screen and K-drama When Life Gives You Tangerines on top for the small screen.
Go get these guys.
This is The World Now, bringing you everything you need to know from around the globe. In Washington on Thursday, U.S. President Donald Trump hosted the signing of a peace deal between leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, aiming to end years of conflict in the eastern part of Democratic Republic of Congo. The agreement was endorsed by the Democratic Republic of Congo's President Felix Tshisekedi and Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, alongside several African leaders. The summit followed intense fighting between the Congolese army and Rwandan-backed Congolese M23 rebels, who are not present and continue to hold key areas in the east of the country. Both sides pledged to address 2 core demands: disarming the Rwandan rebel group FDLR militia and withdrawing Rwandan troops from DR Congo. Analysts warn a ceasefire is still absent, and M23 expansion remains a major obstacle to lasting peace. Now to Pakistan, where Afghan refugees said Thursday a decision by U.S. President Donald Trump to halt access to green cards, citizenship, and special immigrant visas had left them with no safe pathway out of Pakistan. According to Afghan journalist and human rights activist Ihsan Ullah Ahmadzai, the ruling gives authorities in Pakistan a green light to continue enforcing orders to remove undocumented foreigners, including refugees who wish to relocate to the U.S. In the United States, the Trump administration ordered a pause on immigration processing for 19 travel ban countries on Tuesday, a move that followed the shooting of 2 National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C. The suspect being held for the attack is an Afghan national. Refugees say the decision places their cases in indefinite limbo, despite many fleeing after the Taliban takeover in 2021. In India on Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in Delhi for his first visit since the war in Ukraine began nearly 4 years ago. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally met him at the airport, a rare gesture as the two leaders begin a 2-day summit focused on expanding economic and defense ties. Putin's trip comes as India faces its most difficult geopolitical climate in years, amid tensions with China, weakened ties with the U.S., and Western pressure over its Russian oil purchases. Formal talks between Modi and Putin are scheduled for Friday. Across the world this week, the cold supermoon, the last supermoon of 2025, reached its peak on Thursday. The cold moon will appear bright and full tonight. Astronomers say it is the second biggest full moon of the year and climbs higher in the sky than any other full moon as the winter solstice nears. The next supermoon will be the Wolf Moon on January 3rd, 2026. 주지현, Arirang News.
Yesterday, the first snow of this season began to fall in the central parts of the country as commuters made their way back from work. More than 5 centimeters of snow fell around the central regions. But even after the snow stopped falling, freezing temperatures made conditions slippery and dangerous. Please pay attention to avoid accidents. The cold continued to be severe this morning as the temperature in Seoul dropped to nearly -7 degrees Celsius. Even during the day, it only topped out at 2 degrees with freezing air. Temperatures will see an increase during the day tomorrow, and it will remain relatively mild on Sunday with daytime highs of 12 degrees in Seoul. Most areas will start off below zero with Seoul at -1, Gyeongju at -4 degrees. Highs will rise to the double digits in Daejeon, Daegu and Gyeongju at 10 degrees, Jeju at 17 degrees. There's a rain forecast in the central and western parts of the country on Saturday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. Coming up right after this break is our daily panel session, during which we address the data breach at Coupang.
To set the facts straight. Get Korea right.
안녕하세요. 저는 인도네시아에서 온 벙커 회원 무티아라 하이라니입니다. 반갑습니다. 인도네시아에 왔을 때 한국 드라마를 즐겨봤어요. 그러다가 한국에 와서 대학을 다니게 됐어요. 한국 사극 드라마도 즐겨봤어요. 왕과 왕비가 살고, 그리고 신하들이 회의를 하고, 그리고 궁녀들이 일하는 그런 궁궐에 관심이 생겼어요. 제가 제일 좋아하는 궁은 경복궁입니다. 그런데 AI한테 경복궁 그림을 보여달라고 했더니 그 엉뚱한 그림을 보였다는 제보가 있었어요. 예를 들면 궁 앞에 강이 있고 나룻배가 있다든지 산 꼭대기에 있다든지 이런 오해들. 제가 직접 경복궁을 소개해 드릴게요. 같이 갈까요? 경복궁은 대한민국 역사와 문화의 중심지로 여겨져요. 조선시대 왕실의 그 위엄과 격식을 제대로 알 수 있는 곳이거든요. 또 경복궁은 외국인 관광객이 많이 방문하는 그 서울의 랜드마크 중 하나입니다. 제가 경복궁을 사랑하는 이유 이제 아시겠죠? 한국에 대한 잘못된 정보를 바로 찾는 일, 여러분도 함께 해주세요.
On Press Perspective today, we delve into an alarming data breach at online retailer Coupang and a remarkable ranking for South Korea in the international arena. Do stay with us. Hello, welcome to Press Perspective for this Friday, December 5th here in Seoul. I'm Min Sun-hee. A massive data leak at South Korea's largest online retail platform, Coupang, has left vulnerable the personal information of some 34 million South Koreans. Today, we start with this disturbing reality, and for details on it, I have Camille Ruiz with French broadcaster RFI here in the studio. Camille, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
I also have writer Colin Marshall with the pundit's take on the day's topics. Colin, it's great to have you here.
Glad to be here, Sonny.
Right, Camille, let's start with you. Let's begin with details regarding this data breach at Coupang. How did the leak occur? Do tell us again about how many were affected and what have been some of the developments there.
So the leak dates back to June of this year. As you said, so Coupang is South Korea's most popular e-commerce platform. Data of 33.7 million users have been compromised. It represents nearly 65% of the Korean population, according to the Korea Times. It's huge. And according to the company, the breach exposed customers' names, email addresses, phone numbers, shipping addresses, and certain order histories. There is one key suspect. He is believed to be a developer who would have had extensive knowledge of the company authentication system structure. This person departed from the company in December 2024, last year, but the police did not comment on this matter. And the IP address used in the attack is currently secured and under investigation. The attacker seems to have accessed and leaked customer personal information multiple times without even logging in. According to some experts, it is possible that credit card payment or login details have been stolen even before June, but it remains to be proven. As for those being victims in this leak, multiple online forums have opened and to organize the potential class action suits against the company, against Coupang. Some of them reunite 10,000 members already. Customers now have to be very careful with any text message or call that impersonate the company. And of course, lawmakers have also raised their voices and are calling for accountability.
Right, indeed. Colin, the leak at Coupang, it's the latest in a series of data breaches affecting credit card companies here in the country as well as telecom companies. What can you tell us about the public concern with regard to the country's digital privacy, if you will?
Yes, anybody paying attention to the news here in Korea over the past year would certainly think or feel, boy, not again. This happened again this year. And if you see laid out all of these cybersecurity incidents, these hacks that have happened in 2025, it's a fairly long list. And it is, as you say, a variety of companies. A convenience store company, credit card company. We have Coupang here. We have telecom providers, two of the major ones. And so it's not a short list, and none of these are minor outfits. These are all companies that are involved in many Koreans' lives, as can be indicated, the majority of Koreans in some cases. And I believe I read that the accounts that had information leaked, their number was higher than the number of even currently active users on Coupang. So that tells you something right there. But this is a case where it was a developer, as Camille said, who also happened to be. The suspect is Chinese. The suspect was a Chinese developer hired by Coupang and who had returned to China before this whole this hack was committed. And so there is an international angle to this case. Some of the other hacks or leaks or breaches over the past year have involved North Korean hackers. And so this is not a problem contained entirely within the country of South Korea. But it is a problem that is connected to South Korean history in some thematic way, we could say, because if you look at the past 30, 40 years of the building of this country infrastructurally, the desire or even the willingness to create infrastructure, whether it be physical or digital, sometimes outpaces the ability to maintain or the willingness to maintain that infrastructure in a prudent fashion. In the 90s and even early 2000s, we saw it with buildings that would collapse or subways not maintained correctly or emergency procedures not adhered to. Here we have fortunately, a less life-threatening version of what could be the same problem, where South Korea is praised for the penetration of digital services into the life of all its citizens and the convenience that results from that. But at the same time, I think back a couple of years ago, I think it was 2022, when Kakao had their data center fire. Kakao Talk went down for a few hours, and you could sort of feel the country teetering on the edge of chaos, even if it actually wasn't. Like, people rely on Kakao Talk, and oftentimes, like, you couldn't connect to, a lot of people couldn't connect to the people they needed to connect to because of that outage. And come to find out, with that or with the more recent government data center fire here, certain practices were not sort of up to the standard you would expect in a country like this. You'd have servers in one room and the backups in the same room or under the servers. So it does make you wonder, what other vulnerabilities are there? We've seen these hacks, we've seen these leaks, these various disasters. What other element of Korea's vital digital infrastructure is vulnerable? And so the question of how to address that is something being discussed in the Blue House right now. I mean, Lee Jae-myung, the president, has given, at least he's given addresses about what needs to be done next, but in sort of broad terms. I think many don't really know how to fix this problem, but everybody's going to have their eyes on it soon.
Right. In the meantime, one tech news website claims that South Korea has seen a data breach almost every month this year, raising much doubt about its digital defense, if you will. How does this reality compare to that of its global counterparts?
Of course, it depends on the countries and companies. It's very difficult to answer that question because it is hard to compare. Still, I can tell you about France, which is my country. In December, the beginning of the month, the public institution France Travail, which has been created to help people finding jobs, has been attacked, and personal information of 1.6 million job seekers have been leaked. And in November, there was another leak which concerned the users of a platform created to pay child minders, 1.2 million victims. So it happens in France and in other countries as well. What we know for sure is that South Korea is facing cybersecurity challenges, such as those customer personal information leaks. And critics say the current response system to those cyber attacks or incidents is fragmented across multiple agencies. And this results in slowing reactions. So experts use the creation of one single coordinating body as a cyber security control tower, for instance, and some of them are highlighting the fact that the country, South Korea, is also facing a severe shortage of skilled cybersecurity experts. Maybe with more of such talents, with more expertise, it will be possible to build effective defenses to stay ahead of threats.
Right. In the meantime, though, Colin, Coupang has seen a decline in online foot traffic in recent days, but quite a number of pundits claim that the company is likely to see limited losses going forward. Could you explain this reality for us?
Yes, I think part of that prediction is based on the fact that with some of these other breaches, for example, with SK Telecom, you didn't see a mass exodus of cancellations. I think most customers did stay with that provider. It's difficult to switch telecom providers, first of all, or inconvenient or seen as inconvenient. And with Coupang as well, this has been a complaint that those who have tried to cancel their accounts face this 6-step procedure clearly designed to keep users from canceling. And so that's another bit of bad press, as if they needed more right now. But Coupang is a major player, to put it mildly. It is the dominant online shopping service, shall we say. It's not just shopping. There's food delivery, Coupang Eats. There's Coupang Play, which is used for streaming online. So some people use some Coupang service for something or multiple things every day. And if they have to change, they've got a problem. And in some sense, yes, you can replace Coupang if you're a heavy user of it, but you can't, I think, right now, replace it with any single other service. So yes, you can get the same things you were getting delivered in another way, but it's going to be more complicated, not quite as convenient. And you see this in South Korea, you see it in other societies. The choice is between convenience and security, we choose convenience nearly every time. And that's especially pronounced here. And yes, it's been remarked upon, the insensitivity, the apparent insensitivity of Koreans to these kinds of data breaches, the compromises of their personal information. And possibly because it happens so often, you keep hearing about it, you think, well, nothing's happened to me so far, so maybe it's okay. Maybe this is not vital information getting leaked. You kind of make excuses, but you can feel the difference. I don't use Coupang. I don't say don't use Coupang. I just haven't used Coupang myself. My wife uses it, and after this data breach, she had bought a battery before that, and there was a recall of the battery. So she gets a message saying, "Oh, we can refund you. Just send your account information to this address." And she does, and then thinks, "Wait a second, is this a scam? You know, is this China trying to extract my personal data?" Because you would think that if you've heard all this news about what happened, you know, is this actually the company? So we looked it up, and it was legitimate. But at the same time, I think a lot of customers are going to have those doubts when they receive messages like that. Like, is this real? Is this a scam? Like, they won't feel as secure. And so I guess I'm glad I personally haven't used Coupang, but you know, I think at this point we've all been somehow touched or potentially by these incidents that keep happening in one way or another. You can't really escape it.
Right. And Camille, as Colin pointed out earlier, President Lee Jae-myung for his part has called for tougher penalties against companies that fail to protect customer data, while Coupang itself has pledged to prevent such incidents from recurring. I wonder, what are some of the response measures that you'll be keeping your eye on?
So, as you said, Sonny, the Korean government is currently debating multiple options for punishment for the company, including increased penalties, punitive damages, and a suspension of operation. Some people in the government believe the latest incidents involving Coupang should be an opportunity to improve the punitive damage system so that it can effectively prevent massive data compromise. I think I'll keep an eye on effective financial response, because I believe under current South Korean law, companies that fail to implement adequate data protection measures can be fined up to 3% of revenue. That could mean a fine of more than 1 trillion won, approximately $680 million. Companies exist to make profit. And I believe it could be one of the most appropriate response measures that can result in changing the way of thinking of some of the decision makers of the company. Sadly, it's not just a case of telling them not to let that happen again. And I just want to add that beyond the data leak, Coupang is also under fire for the harsh condition faced by its night shift workers, with more than 20 on-duty deaths reported since 2020. Soo Young-gu, professor at Sukmyung Women University, told the Korea Times that Coupang has a lack of systems to reinforce corporate ethics and social responsibility. So this is something I believe everyone should have in mind, and maybe my colleague Colin can tell us more about that.
Right, let's go right into it then, Colin. What are your thoughts with regard to Coupang's efforts to regain perhaps public trust, if I may?
Yes, as I say, they've been having some PR difficulties, and this has been lasting a while. As Camille said, there have been, I believe, 27 deaths of workers at these facilities since 2020. And you'd have to compare it to, I mean, I guess you can compare this to Amazon.com in the US, which keeps coming under fire for sometimes death, sometimes just the nature of the job the workers are put into. That's one of the main ways to criticize Amazon and their business practices is, well, look at the fulfillment centers, and people are working long hours and getting a lot of physical problems as a result. And what is the cost of this convenience? But as with Amazon, so with Coupang, it is so convenient that even these stories, when they come out, don't harm them that much in the eyes of the Korean consumer, partially because you see these reports of workers dying from, it'll be a heart attack or some kind of vascular incident. You can't be sure the job caused it. Maybe it did. Maybe it was something else. Coupang themselves will sometimes claim this worker had a pre-existing condition, so it gets fairly thorny. But when no smoke without fire, when the pattern gets that long, I suspect, in any case, it merits further investigation, obviously. But at the same time, a company like Coupang is incorporated in the US. Its founder is a Korean American who has been criticized for apparently using his US residence and, I believe, citizenship to evade responsibility. And as I said before, the suspect in the data leak was a Chinese developer who has returned to China. And I think one of the stories to follow, or one of the narratives within the stories to follow, is the question of why such a big company in Korea that so many Koreans, whose services so many Koreans use, is apparently dependent on dependent on whether it be technology or whether it be some kind of legal framework outside South Korea. There's only so much that the government can discipline a company that is, in some sense, rooted elsewhere. And so it might be time to consider, when you have an entity this large and powerful, maybe it needs to be brought under national control a little more than it is.
Right, something to think about then. Camille, let's quickly move on to another issue of interest. South Korea ranked 6th in the 2025 World Power Survey conducted by US News and World Report. Could you tell us a bit more about this ranking, its reasons, and how it compares to that of its global counterparts?
Yes, so first of all, this report defined the word power, and I think it's important to understand this ranking. Countries of power, according to US News, are nations that regularly appear in the headlines of the media, preoccupy policymakers, and shape global economic patterns. Their foreign policies and military budgets are tracked religiously. So the first three countries ranked top are the United States, China, and Russia, then the United Kingdom, Germany, and South Korea in 6th place. The website justified its ranking by the success story of South Korea, described as one of the largest economies in the world. Its high-tech, service-based economy are praised as long as its modernity, dynamism, infrastructures, or innovation. And just after South Korea comes France, and 8th, Japan. In terms of quality of life, those two countries seems to do better than South Korea, to be honest. Access to food, healthcare, education, housing, employment. But in total, with all different criteria, such as cultural influence, power, adaptation, resiliency, and many more, South Korea ranks higher. And I just want to add that for a country which has been colonized, it's very impressive to me. We all know the past and history of the top-ranked countries.
Right, and quite a number of pundits therefore highlight the miracle on the Han River, if you will. Colin, findings for Korea show, like Camille mentioned, it scored high, that is, South Korea scored high, in categories like entrepreneurship and cultural influence, but low in openness for business, social purpose, and adventure. How do you interpret these findings?
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that happens with South Korea in rankings of this kind. But first, a little bit of context. This is US News and World Report, which is a news magazine technically, although for a long time it's been known primarily for its rankings of American colleges and universities. A list very well known in South Korea, incidentally, where parents who want to send their kids abroad to college, to the US in particular, treat it as almost this sort of biblical text of biblical importance, you could say. But this has been the main function of this publication for a long time, is the college ranking. But now they're expanding into other rankings. And the idea of ranking countries by power is it's a broad term and one that can be interpreted in a variety of ways. And indeed, they've used a variety of metrics, some of them more concrete than others. My mind goes to as well something we've talked about in this program before, which is the ranking of passports, the passport power. And South Korea, incidentally, is number 6 as well, or it was on the power passport ranking, just as it is on the general power ranking of US News and World Report. And as you say, there's a mixture of high performance and not so high performance, or high ranking and not so high ranking. And entrepreneurship is something you see on the streets in life in Korea. There are small businesses everywhere. And they're often the same kinds of small businesses, but they are everywhere. It's not that hard to start a restaurant or a cafe or what have you, because real estate is much cheaper to acquire or to use than it is in, for example, the US, New York or Los Angeles. So the bar is a bit lower there, or the doorway is easier to cross into. But at the same time, that's criticized that, yes, you can start a business easily, but they don't tend to grow, they don't tend to scale very well. You can own one chicken shop, you probably won't have a national chain of chicken shops, and you may be owning a chicken shop because you got mandatorily retired from your job at Samsung or something like that. So it's a certain kind of entrepreneurship that happens here, and maybe that's maybe these rankings reflect that it's not quite a diverse, entrepreneurial sphere, you could say. And when foreigners try to start businesses in Korea, they come up against more difficulties because often they need legally a Korean business partner, or there are other obstacles, or the incentives the Korean government has made much of providing are, from what I've heard, not quite as they're not quite as useful as they're made to seem. And the programs to incentivize entrepreneurship, startups from foreigners or otherwise are not quite at the scale you would hope for. They're still in, you could say, the experimental stage or the test stage. So there's that. The adventure is also interesting to point out. This category of adventure, Korea ranking low in adventure, perhaps so. I mean, it's become a place that's touristically interesting. And for a while there was on the vanguard for Americans who want to visit the next hot country. But I think it's not really seen as a place you can brag about having gone to anymore. It is, this is also something, it's a positive quality. It's a safe place. But whether you can call South Korea an adventurous culture, I suppose you could make the argument that it is not. But again, the much discussed dynamism of South Korea is real. And I think people are still coming to see that, coming to see how fast the country is still changing and how developed it is compared to even their own countries, visitors from even the US or Japan or Europe. So it is a respectable ranking, I would say. And I think, as is the case, whenever South Korea is ranked on a list like this, it does galvanize the country to do even better. We've talked about school culture here, educational culture, and the sort of, oh, you're number 6, why aren't you number 5? You have a B+, why not an A? So I think even now there are probably meetings happening in the Korean government at various levels to figure out how to bump this country up one more, much as universities and colleges do in the US whenever the US News and World Report ranking comes out each year.
Right, probably a campaign to raise Korea higher maybe next year then. All right, Colin, I'm afraid that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for your insights today.
Thank you.
Kami, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts.
Thank you, Sunny.
Right, that ends this week's editions of Press Perspective. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend and do join us again same time next Monday.
Where's my PDF report?
Convert, merge, edit. When am I supposed to finish all this?
Wait! Editor On does all that? I can fix text right in the PDF, black out personal info with one click, convert, merge, and save to the cloud so I can download it on my PC or tablet. Easy. Thanks to Editor On, I'm leaving on time.
What's up, everyone? I'm the MC of Simply K-pop Station Story SNS 50/50's Athena.
SNS에 오신 여러분 반갑습니다. 50/50 예원입니다.
Yeon, today is the first Friday of December.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Even with no reason, like Fridays are always exciting, right?
태나 씨 무슨 소리예요? 이유가 다 있죠.
What reason? 뭐예요?
이렇게 예쁘고 귀여운 태나 씨와 달콤한 주말을 앞두고 불금을 같이 보낼 수 있잖아요.
Oh my god, thank you so much. You're making me shy. Because I don't feel the same way, sorry.
Why? 너무해요. 자, 태나 씨. 아무튼 오늘 태나 씨뿐만 아니라 오늘 저희와 함께 불금을 보내주실 분들이 있거든요. 또 아주 스페셜한 분들이어서 지금을 놓치면 분명 후회하실 거예요.
맞습니다. I can't wait. You're watching Simply K-pop Stadium Story SNS, where you get to see amazing performances and behind the episodes that you've never seen before. So shall we bring out the guests?
좋습니다. 당찬 매력의 걸그룹 베이비 돈 크라이입니다. 웰컴 SNS.
Alright. 저희 인사드리겠습니다. 둘, 셋. 안녕하세요. 베이비 돈 크라이입니다. 잘 부탁드립니다. 안녕하세요. 베이비 돈 크라이 미꾸미꾸미 쿠미입니다. 부탁드립니다.
카와이.
안녕하세요. 베이비 돈 크라이의 리더 이현입니다. 안녕하세요. 베이비 돈 크라이 아기 고양이 미아입니다. 잘 부탁드립니다. 안녕하세요. 베이비 돈 크라이 사랑받는 막내 팬입니다. 잘 부탁드립니다. 오늘 체리즈 분들 많이 오신다고 하셔서 너무 긴장이 되는데요. 오늘 새로운 체리즈도 많이 만들어갈 수 있도록 열심히 하고 있습니다. 체리즈 사랑해. 저희가 I don't care 그 비하인드 같은 걸 많이 얘기를 할 것 같아서 아직 공개하지 못했던 저희의 비하인드 같은 재밌는 얘기를 많이 하려고요. 그래서 재밌게 봐주실 수 있으면 좋겠어요.
그리고 저희가 토크하는 모습은 우리 체리즈 분들께 많이 못 보여드렸던 것 같은데 저희 배동크 생각보다 재밌다는 걸 오늘 보여드리고 싶고 오늘 저희의 멋진 모습 많이 보여드리겠습니다. 기대 많이 해주세요. 하나, 둘, 셋. 오예!
Baby Don't Cry is back with I Don't Care, and you guys have been so busy with the promotions. How do you feel? 혹시 컴백 소감 한 번만 들어보시겠어요?
사실 저희가 5개월 동안 공백 기간이 있었는데요. 그렇게 하고 처음 이렇게 체리즈를 보게 되니까 너무 설레고 I Don't Care 활동도 열심히 하고 싶다는 생각이 들었어요.
오, 좋습니다. 이번에 신곡도 너무너무 궁금한데요. I Don't Care 혹시 어떤 곡인가요?
네, 저희 신곡 I Don't Care는 누가 뭐라 하든 흔들리지 않고 당당하게 나아가겠다라는 선언적인 메시지를 담은 곡입니다.
The song fits Baby Don't Cry so well. I can't wait to hear the behind the scene episodes.
맞아요.
Of the song.
그래서 저희가 오늘도 신곡 비하인드 갤러리 코너가 준비되어 있죠. 베이비 돈 크라이 분들의 휴대폰 속에 저장되어 있는 비하인드 사진들을 보면서 더 자세한 얘기 나눠보도록 하겠습니다.
Let's shout open together. Here's Baby Don't Cry's behind the song gallery. Open!
저희의 진짜 갤러리예요.
대박이다. 근데 너무 예쁜데요? 지금 잘 확대해서는 안 보이는데 진짜 너무 예쁜 것 같아요.
그러면 또 자세한 얘기를 또 들어봐야겠죠? 첫 번째 사진 띄워주세요. 이거 너무 귀여운데요? 누가 찍으신 사진이요?
저요.
오!
대기실에서
나오니까